What up, guys? So, before I begin, there's a request from Mr. W. Shea. And here's one of them. This little knife of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little knife of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little knife of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. When I see my brother, I'm gonna stab him in the eye, 'cause he's a sack of shit who deserves to die. I'm gonna stab Josh Thurman. I'm gonna send him back to Christ. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. I'm certain that his offspring will throw a fucking fit when they make his tombstone and I found a new place to shit. I'm gonna stab Josh Thurman. I'm gonna put an end to it. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. So anyway, there will be more songs about Josh Thurman. For Facebook, I'm going to edit this part out because I have a lot of people who would think that I was a lunatic. Actually, I am a lunatic, but for Facebook, I'm going to edit this out. But anyway, all right, so how to use customers' objections to talk your way out of a job. Zach, why in the fuck's sake would you want to do that, right? So I'm a plumber. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber, HVAC, electrician, floor guy, drywall, what the fuck ever. So at one point in time, you're going to realize that there's somebody who's sitting in the AC making a fortune off of your work, and they're going out playing golf every day and, you know, don't have a responsibility in the world, right? So the typical narrative of a typical Gen Z or whatever you want to call them, millennial or whatever, they all revolve their whole livelihood around figuring out a way to do absolutely nothing and get paid for it, right? That's what they want to do. If that doesn't bother you, that one of those pieces of shit is your employer, it should. Because that person is making a fortune because you go to work every day. And you're the one who's stupid enough to support it. Now, for plumbing, there are specific things that are annoyances. I don't know all of the annoyances of a roofer or of a drywaller. I don't know. I've never been in that trade. So what you're going to hear is the perspective of a plumber, but the idea is the same. Essentially, I'll tell you the scenario that I was in and how this came in handy to talk your way out of doing a job. So the scenario is it's 135 fucking degrees out in Phoenix, Arizona, and nobody gives a shit, right? You're the one who's out in the sun. And coincidentally, every time you have to do work in somebody's house, they go in there and they shut their fucking AC off. So it doesn't matter if you're working inside or if you're working outside, you're gonna be sweating your fucking nuts off. There's no getting out of it. That's just how it is. Very rarely do you find somebody who keeps their AC on. Very rarely, because people are just obnoxious about that. They would rather live sweating their ass off for 16 hours a day and then turn a fan on at night to save $10 on their utility bill than they would live in comfort. Seriously, it's that retarded. So anyway, you have to figure out a way to combat people who are taking advantage of you, right? And we get a lot of those as plumbers. We get a lot of people that have, they see no value in your trade, but they need your help, right? They don't care about your years of expertise or your knowledge or, you know, the training that you had to go through, the apprenticeship program that you had to go through, the schooling that you had to go through. They don't care about any, none of that matters. You know, for 2 years straight, all you did was jackhammer up the fucking floor and do dig jobs and sweat your fucking ass off and break a sweat constantly. 2 years before they even started teaching you anything. You had to go through that, right? So you can tell racially who this person is or who this group of people are, and it's not black people that call you out to their house for a free estimate, and then once you tell them the item that needs to be replaced, they say, okay, thank you, I got what I need, I'll look it up on YouTube and figure it out myself, thanks. Now you just drove an hour and a half to get to that person's house, right? It's 6 o'clock at night. It's gonna take you an hour and a half to get back home. You're getting home at 7:30 every single night. You're tired, you're on call this weekend. You're gonna be working the next 14 days. And then there's this asshole. So before I get into this, what I wanna do is tell you my approach. And this sales approach has worked very well for me. I've made insane amounts of money. My biggest weekly check was $14,000 using this exact same thing that I'm about to tell you. So, well, actually the biggest sale I ever made was $437,000. Sewer repipe and a whole home, like a whole water service repipe for a 16-unit motel. $427,000. That was the biggest sale that I ever had. But they did not pay me all that at once. They gave it to me in chunks because we did the job in chunks. So anyway, it was a lot of work, as you might imagine. So anyway, something snapped in my brain. Oh, let me tell you, let me tell you how I go about this. So there's 3 keys, right? I usually draw a peace sign, not the S one, but like the peace chart, not the yin yang, but the peace symbol with a circle around it. So there's 3 different sections to this chart. In those sections, there are the project, the company, and the price. Those are the 3 stars that have to align in order to make a sale. And it works. If you can make those 3 stars align, 99% of the time you're going to make a sale. But you have to make those stars align, and you need time to do that. So the project, the company, and the price. So what you do is you go around and you discuss things as you're finding them. Hey man, you're aerators, they're, you know, clogged up with sediment. You know, your eventually your shower cartridge is going to be clogged up with sediment. You're going to have to replace that. You know, your toilet has sediment in the toilet tank. And you have two different types of jetting systems in a toilet. You have a siphon jet and you have rim jets. Rim jets are what's responsible for creating the swirl in the toilet. Siphon jets is what's used to help push the solids over into past the trap area into the sewage system. Yada, 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 okay? So once those sediment, so every time you flush your toilet, that sediment that's in the back of the tank will travel through the flush valve, through the rim jets, and into the toilet. Those start clogging up the rim jets, and when they do, there is no fix for that. You can't unclog a rim jet. You have to buy a whole new toilet. So, you know, we've talked about sediment filling up your water heater and causing issues, whether it's electric or gas, and how your water heater has to work super extra hard when there's the more sediment that's in there, the harder it has to work to heat up that water, the more energy it's going to consume, right? Hardness. Why is hardness important? Hardness is important because the more hardness that's in your water, the faster you're going to develop slab leaks and wall leaks. And the reason behind that is because every time you turn on your shower, every time you flush your toilet, every time there's a water demand, there's going to be 75 psi or 80 psi or whatever's incoming into the house blasting through your pipes. The more sediment, the more hardness that's in your water, the more calcium deposits that are in your water, the more it's going to sandblast the inner lining of your pipes paper thin to the point where eventually they just break. Your very first slab leak is going to cost you about $6,500. It will with me. Most companies are like, oh, you know, we'll do it for $800, and they'll do it one or two times for $800, and then they'll realize why it's $6,500 very quickly. Why I charge $6,500, which is cheap for that, for dealing with that. So anyway. When you in a softening system or a filtration system, I don't know what you guys are charging. We charge about right around $5,000, right? So your very first softening system is $5,000. It's cheaper than one slab leak. The conversation that I have with customers when I have a slab leak, and I go over this with the customer, I tell them the very first time that you develop a slab leak, any plumbing company is going to come out and tell you, it's $6,500 for me to replace, for me to make this repair. And then 2 or 3 months later, if a problem develops 2 feet down the line, you're going to be paying me $6,500 again to make that repair. And now we're chasing a problem. So rather than do that, you're better off repiping your house. This is a very real conversation that I have with people. You're better off repiping your house and getting a 25-year warranty with PEX than you are paying me to come out and fix these slab leaks over and over and over again. All of this could be avoided with some type of filtration or water softener or whatever. So when I'm having these conversations with customers, I'm asking them questions and figuring out what they expect to get, what they want out of a filtration system. If they want a soft water, if they want drinkable water in every faucet, if they want, you know, the benefits of a carbon filtration system, which takes the chlorine out of the water, it's responsible for removing the taste and the odor. Or, so the carbon filter and the softening system together. There's all kinds of different products out there. But I'm figuring out what it is, what works best for them, right? And I'm going to write them up a couple options. We're going to go over those options and see what works best for them. So that's my approach. Now, that approach has made me very successful. The entire time I'm talking to them, I'm making eye contact. When they ask me a question, I'm not all, oh, I forgot my shoes untied. I got to go out to my truck real quick. No. You need to study the products that are available for sale before you go have these conversations. When you're in this moment, you do not walk away. You don't. If somebody's calling your phone, you put that bitch on fucking silent. You give that customer your complete, undivided attention. That's what you're doing. And what you're doing is you're building trust. Because if you don't have to think about the response when they ask you a question, that tells them, okay, this guy's probably done this a lot. They might not know that. It might be helpful for you to say something like, hey, I do 10 of these a month. I put them in all the time. I found that customers really enjoy the GSE Elite or the Halo 5 or whatever the fuck you got in your little town. Or whatever. I found that, they really enjoy the Hero system from Wood Brothers or whatever. So you establish what system would work best for them, and then you start telling them about your company. Because at this point, you've shown them something that they want. They realize that they need this, right? So this is the project. Now we're going to talk about the company. This is where you build value in yourself and in the company. This customer is going to spend 5 to 10 grand on a system, maybe even more, depending on who you work for. Because some companies really do mark up those prices fucking huge. So anyway, now's your chance to tell them, hey, I've been doing this for 9 years. I install 4 of these a month on average. Last month I did 10, but last month was kind of a fluke. But I do them all the time. And just to let you know, 50% of companies go out of business within their first year. 1 in 25 makes it to 5 years. We are blah, 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 blah. And we've made it to 30 years or 40 years. And then when they're just nodding their head, like, do you know why that's important? And they're like, why? And you say, well, that's important because when we give you a warranty, it actually matters. If I put a 10-year warranty on something, in 10 years from now, we're still going to be around to take care of this product for you. Does that matter? Yes. Yes, it does. It always matters. They care about that. If they don't care about that, then they're going to learn very quickly what happens when you hire Jose Olay. So now I've done my TDS check. I've done my softness check. I've established the product that they're interested in. I have talked to them about the project itself at this point. Now it's time to build value. So here's what we're doing. We're telling, hey, 5-star reviews on Google. I know it seems stupid, but it's a good idea to look at those. Our company maintains 5-star reviews on Google. Anybody that has ever had an issue, we have always resolved that issue. We have always stood behind our customers. Is that important to you? Yes, it is important to us. The company that I work for specifically, we donate to Wounded Warrior Project. The booties that we buy support breast cancer research. We do a lot. We do a lot for the community. Is that something that's important to you? Yeah, it is important. Yeah, everybody loves to. If I'm going to spend money with somebody, it's nice to know that some of this is going back towards the community. Some people care about that. I care about that. So anyway. So if at this point you're experiencing objections, then you haven't spent enough time either building value in yourself and the company that you work for, or you haven't spent enough time explaining to them what this product does and why it's important to have it. It's very simple. If there are no objections, and before I get on to the next section, I do want to tell you, that this will happen more often than not. And this is where a lot of plumbers fuck up. There comes a time when you're gonna need privacy to go build these estimates, right? You can come up with a myriad of different ways to do this, but you need to get yourself alone, put yourself in the truck, turn the AC on, and build these estimates. You need time to, what you're doing is you're giving them time to think before you present the price. And if they start developing objections, then don't show them the price yet and go handle those objections before you even talk about price. Here's a situation that's going to pop up. You're going to be talking about a water softening system, and they're going to interrupt you and say, how much is it? How much is it? How much is this going to cost me? Here's what you say. That's going to depend on a few things. What I'll do is when I'm finished with my diagnostics, I'm going to write up several different options, a couple different ways, and we'll go over them and figure out what works best for you. Does that sound good? And 5 seconds later, how much is it? Well, that's going to depend on a few things, man. I got to go write up some options for you, and we'll go over them here in a minute. So what is it that you're looking to get out of a filtration system? How much is it? You know, they keep asking, how much is it? How much is it? Here's the problem. If you open up your iPad and you start writing estimates and they see the price, it's not going to matter what you say. From that moment on, if they see that price, that's all they're going to, they don't care if you tell them that this is the gateway to heaven. They don't care at this point. Once they've seen that price, that is it. That's all they care about. So don't give it to them. Let them stew, let them think on it. Go out to your truck, fill out your estimates. What you're doing is you're giving them time. If they, you know, I really got to talk this over with my wife now that I think about it. Okay, well, is there anything that you think your wife would be interested in knowing that we haven't gone over yet? What you're doing is you're talking to him. You're not talking to his wife. He's not concerned that his wife is going to have questions. She probably doesn't even know what the fuck it is. Right? You're talking to his objections. That he's acting like, well, it's somebody else. Oh, well, somebody else. That's what you're dealing with, right? And you need to get these objections out before you present your price. You have to. Because if you present your price and then that objection comes, I promise you, you will not be able to talk your way out of that objection. They will smoke screen you and get you the fuck out of the house. That's exactly what they're gonna do. $6,000, I ain't paying that, fuck that. Oh, I gotta sleep on it, I need other estimates. And if they need other estimates, you have not built enough value in yourself and in the company that you work for. So, we've gone from project to company. Now it's time for price. Go in there, and when you're discussing things, sometimes it helps to bring up the financing prices. And almost always when you say, hey, it's $33 a month, they're always gonna say, well, what's the total bill? Ask. Well, before we talk about that, is this the one that you might want? Is this the one that you want? When they say, yeah, that's the one I want, you just sold it, dude. You just sold it without even telling them the price. You just sold it. Now you gotta hang on to that, right? This is not a complicated thing. There are so many companies that will send you out to Next Star training and all this shit. And I will tell you, do not do what Next Star training does. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack from this, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hate me. But what I do personally is I build a real relationship with that customer, a legitimate relationship with that customer. I build their trust. I build value in myself. I show them my knowledge and expertise and my professionalism. And they trust me to work in their house. I make sure of that. Every house that I go to, I make sure that they don't feel uncomfortable about anything. That they can just sit on their sofa and enjoy the AC, and I'll go take care of this for you. And I'm gonna do an amazing job at it. I'm gonna go change your angle stops for you. Water's gonna be shut off. Your toilets will have one remaining flush. So if you need to use a bathroom, you still can. It's just water's gonna be off. I'm comforting them, all right? So, Next Star is going to tell you some things that are not going to work for you very well. And their ideas are good, they're helpful, they're just horrible when you're actually talking to a real person. And let me tell you why. You knock on their door. Hey man, is my truck parked okay? Oh yeah, it's parked okay. I'm going to be here for about 2 hours. Does anybody have any time restraints today? Oh, no, I'll be home. I apologize about that. I got a phone call. So, is it okay for me to put my booties on? Yeah, sure, why not? And they might say, nah, you don't need to worry about that. And then what I used to say is, oh, well, I'm not the one who cleans your house, so I don't want to get beaten up by the one who does. And everybody has a big ha-ha about that. So anyway, the next thing that they tell you to do is to give compliments, right? And this is the bullshit. I swear to God, if somebody came into my house and started doing this, I would tell them to get the fuck out. Anybody who's ever been in sales of any kind, in any way, shape, or form, would immediately sniff you out and tell you to get the fuck out of their house. So the next thing is compliments. So the purpose of that is to give them control of their house and show them that you're respecting them. That's the purpose of that. None of this shit matters. It never mattered for me, and I've gotten along fucking great without it. And I have done it. I did it for years. Hey, is it okay if I put my booties on? Hey, is my truck parked okay? Does anybody need to leave within the time restraint that I'm going to be here for 2 hours, for the next 2 hours? I've done all that for years. It's garbage. The second thing is the compliments, right? The fucking, oh, wow, your carpeting is amazing. Who did your carpeting? Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, I see you got black shoes over there. I like black shoes too. I got brown shoelaces though. You like brown shoelaces? You are now having a bullshit conversation that I would immediately tell you to get the fuck out of my house. And I'm not exaggerating actually, because I've seen plumbers actually fucking do this. They look at a picture on the wall and they're like, oh, my mind is blown. Did you paint that yourself? And it's signed by fucking Michelangelo or some shit. Your conversation has to be genuine, right? It has to be. Or they're gonna think you're a fake piece of shit and tell you to get the fuck out of their house, and you're just gonna look like a sleazy salesperson that doesn't give a shit and only wants money. You actually have to give a shit, right? That's the secret. You actually have to give a shit about their concerns, their wants, and their needs. You have to care about that to make this go through flawlessly. I know it's not your house. I know you don't have to live there. But I want you to pretend like you're talking to your parents. That you're educating them over the, in my instance, 9 years of expertise and knowledge that I've developed. And teach them what's happening, why it's happening, how to resolve it. What's happening, why it's happening, and how to resolve it. Right? When you're flushing a water heater, boiler drain clogs up with sediment. What's happening? Why is it happening? How to resolve it. 3/4 port, full port drain valve, right? Water filtration. it's up to code now to put an expansion tank on it, right? So these are all, you know, you got to put an expansion tank on it if you got a PRV. Things have changed because now the water meter, the new water meters are check valves, which creates a closed system, which means you need an expansion tank even if you don't have a PRV. If the water meter is a new water meter. So anyway, I've just gone through some technical things with you guys. It's kind of cool to fucking do this. But, so that used to be my approach. It worked very well for me. I had a lot of success with that. Things have changed. Something snapped in my brain, right? Now I'm going to tell you the circumstances here. The circumstances are, it's 135 degrees out, right? I'm 37 years old. I'm not, you know, I'm not 25 no more. You know what I mean? And I've been working 14 days in a row. No day off. They've kept me out until from 6 a.m. is when my day starts to 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock p.m. every single day for one of these 14 days, right? I'm exhausted is what I'm getting at. And this will help you in your future, because when people don't have respect for you and your knowledge and your expertise and your trade, and they don't see any value in plumbers or a drywaller or whatever you are, it's not worth wasting your time. And when they lowball you, walk away. Don't argue with them. Don't change your price. Give them the price and walk away if they're lowballing you, right? That's out of respect for yourself. Because the amount of shit that you had to crawl through just to be able to help them, and now they're requiring you to be fucking sober and ready to go at any point in time to go help these people, and that guy doesn't see any value in you, but he's asking for your help. Walk away from that guy. Don't bother fighting with them. Don't give them $50 off. Play hardball. How I play hardball is when they're like, oh my God, that's so expensive. What I just did was I counted in my brain for 8 Mississippis. And in real time, I'm staring them in the eye when they're saying, oh wow, that's so expensive. I just look at them. Because at this point, it's still their turn to speak. I'm giving them that. It's their turn to speak. You don't say a fucking word in this moment. And if they say, well, things are getting more expensive, they just solve their own objection. You didn't even have to do anything. But they might not say that. They might say, can you give me a discount? And here's the difference between me and the rest of the plumbers. Because at this moment, I've met plumbers that as soon as they show the price, before the customer even says anything, they'll start talking about a discount. Those plumbers, they'll never fucking make it. Because they don't value themselves enough to believe that they deserve that paycheck. Let them go. Let them go. I've spent a lot of time training people like that, and they get out there and they just start shaking and they don't know what to do. Oh my God, little Miss Rosie has to buy a $1,800 water heater, and well, I just feel horrible. Dude, this is your job. This is what you signed up for. This is what you crawled through shit for. Compose yourself. So anyway, some of these guys, you can talk to them until you're blue in the face. They're never going to learn that. Now we're at the point where, oh my gosh, it's so expensive, right? The sticker shock. So what I do, if they say, well, can you give me a discount? What separates me from the rest of the plumbers is I'll say, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to do that? And what I've done is I've just asked them a question that humanizes the situation. How am I supposed to give you a discount? And now it's up to them to figure out a way that I'm supposed to give them a discount. So that's how I play hardball with people. Never sell yourself short. If the job's not worth doing, don't do it. Because you're gonna constantly be doing them for way too cheap, and you're gonna get stressed out because your paycheck sucks, you're overworked, and this is not the life that you should be living. And you're gonna be miserable as a plumber. This is how you resolve that, by playing hardball. We all know the specific type of people who constantly ask for a discount. It's people from India, right? That's I haven't worked with a whole lot of Asians, but I've heard Asians are the same. They think that you're gonna replace a hose bib for $50 and it's gonna take you fucking 20 minutes to drain the house down, and you know, maybe you're sitting there for 20 minutes and the water just never shuts off, so you gotta go shut it off at the meter and wait another 20 minutes. And then fucking by the time you get that hose bib off, it's been an hour and you get the new one put back on, and you know, you're just dealing with all the shit, taking all the liability of burning down a house. You know, even though you're a professional and you know you're not going to burn down the house, you're still taking down the liability, yeah, which is a lot, and that's way too much liability for $50. It's too much. So I'm not doing it for $50. Fuck you, right? So anyway, those are my techniques. They work very well. Now, I will tell you that if it legitimately is a situation that an 80-year-old woman is by herself and she's living off Social Security, I will absolutely work with her on price. I will give her no issues at all working with her on price. Because I wouldn't do that to my grandparents, I wouldn't do that to my parents, and I'm not going to do it to your parents, right? Or your grandparents. I don't have the heart to do that. If it's former or active military, that guy was willing to go out and die so that you could have freedom. You bet your fucking ass I'm going to do what I can for him or her. These are the exceptions that I have. How am I supposed to do that? Well, if they say, well, dude, I'm a veteran. Holy shit, man. Let me call my boss, dude. Let me see what I can do for you. You know what I'm saying? And just go make a phone call. Hey, man, can I take off 10%, $500 or whatever? Sure, why not? I don't have a problem with it, as long as they're making a profit and a good margin. I mean, the margin has to be there. But yeah, so that's how you play hardball with people. Just because somebody complains that it's expensive, you don't just immediately drop your price, because now they don't see value in the product and they don't see value in you, because you don't have a fucking spine. You don't. So anyway, those are my techniques. Now something's changed. So I'm 37 years old. It's hotter than fuck outside. They fucking work me to death and put me out fucking soaking wet. So anyway, in my specific situation, I'm a hell of a sales guy. My employer, my new employer, is not allowing me to pass jobs off to people. To pass jobs off to the installation crew, things like that. So if I sell something, I have to go do it. Give me just a second. Fucking work's calling me, and I'm not taking the call. I'm not. They're gonna try to put something on me, and it's fucking 6 o'clock at night. I'm not doing it. I'm done doing this shit. So anyway, seriously, this is happening in real time. 6 o'clock right now, 6:05. And I guarantee you the call that they want to put on me is out in Apache Junction. It's going to take me an hour and a half to get there, and it's a fucking maintenance call. Not happening. This is the bullshit that I'm talking about. So, anyway. All those objections that people give you. Oh man, I gotta talk it over with my wife. Oh man, Christmas is right around the corner. I gotta save up for that. Oh, Thanksgiving is around the corner. I gotta make sure I got food. Even though they're living in a fucking $3 million house and have a brand new Mercedes in the driveway. Oh man, you know, everything's just so expensive. I need to get other estimates. Da 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 da. You are now going to use those exact, precise objections to talk your way out of a job, because your employer, who is going out and playing golf at noon every single day and sitting in the AC and smoking cigars and, you know, just not doing a fucking thing, is making a fortune off of you because you're stupid enough to go out and do this for him so that he can live a lavish life, right? If that doesn't bother you, it should. It should bother you. That should make you want to go out and get your own license. But so here's how you defend yourself from having to do shit that you don't want to do. I had a customer the other day, fucking water heater wouldn't flush. It was on a ledge that was up to my fucking hip, and he needed a new water heater. He gave me 0 objections, was totally agreeing with me, and then he asked for a discount. And I said, well, let me go call my manager and see what I can do. I go out to the truck, I get on the phone, I call my manager. I said, hey man, I'm about to sell a water heater. Can I pass it off to install? Nope, install's busy today. Oh, no problem. What about tomorrow? And he's like, they're working on maybe selling a repipe, and if that happens, he's going to be busy for the rest of the week. Okay, well, them working on a repipe and trying to sell one isn't that they sold one. So what's install doing, right? Now, obviously, at this point, I've realized that my manager is a total piece of shit, right? So anyway, so I go back inside and I start talking to the customer. He's like, hey, were you able to give me a discount? And I was like, man, he told me that I could give you some money off, but I'll be honest with you, dude. I think it would be worth your time to maybe get some extra, maybe get some more estimates than just us. So we're not the cheapest in town, and times are tough right now. I just said that, right? To get the fuck out of it. So now you've learned how, if you're in my position, you know, if you're brand new to plumbing, I would not recommend using objections to get out of work, because they're going to fire you and you're going to get caught, and shit's going to be a horrible explanation. You know what I'm saying? In my personal, situation, they're royally fucking me over. So basically, it's up to me. If I feel like doing the job, I'm gonna do the job. If I'm tired as fuck and I don't want to deal with it anymore, I'm not gonna fucking do the job, right? So anyway, that is how I get out of it. And I thought that I would share that with everybody so that you can use it too. Hey man, you know, are you sure your wife's at work right now? This is an expensive thing. Do you want to maybe talk it over with her first? Can you imagine saying that to a customer? Can you imagine? And then it makes sense. Oh yeah, maybe I should talk with my wife about this. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, guess who gets to go home before 5 o'clock and finally enjoy a little bit of solitude before he has to be up and go work another 16-hour shift. So sometimes it's necessary. But now you have my technique. So my other techniques are, if it's 9 o'clock at night and somebody has 4 toilets and one of them is clogged and they're expecting you to come out and resolve that, that's not an emergency. But your employer is more concerned about making money than he is concerned about your health, right? So what I do is I call up the customer and I say, hey, dude, I'm on an emergency right now. There's no way I can get there. I don't even think I can get there tonight. I gotta redo a whole main riser. It got ripped out of somebody's garage, the side of their garage. They hit it with their car. Kid just got his driver's license and he was backing up and smacked the main riser right out of the garage. I gotta rebuild the whole thing, dude. I'm gonna be here till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Can you just wait till tomorrow? Yeah, sure, I can wait till tomorrow. You call up dispatch. Hey man, I called him up and he changed his mind. You know, that's the other technique that you can use to not work yourself into the fucking ground, right? Use that at your own discretion. At the end of the day, you got to remember, these people are working in the AC all day long. They're not doing a fucking thing. All they're doing is staring at the computer screen, looking at your pictures, looking at your notes, and making sure that you're not a complete fuck up. And they're making a fortune doing that, right? A fortune. Oh, and they're designating which job goes to who. They're dispatching for profit, which is normal. That's okay. Because if you do the sales thing that I just told you, you're going to be the profit. You're going to be the profitable salesperson. So anyway, don't let those people control your life. Don't. It's not worth it. What I just did was I just gave control back to you. They only exist and they're only able to live their lifestyle because you go to work every day. You hold more power than what you think. Time and time and time again, I've told them, hey, you guys need to change your pricing in the price book. And I'm not talking about going down. I'm talking about raising the fucking prices because this ain't the 70s no more. They're like, ooh, well, that's price gouging. Price gouging. They love to say that word. What they don't know, the real definition of price gouging is if you go up to a white guy and you say, hey, I'll replace your customer supplied toilet for $350. Then you go up to a black guy and you say, hey, it's going to cost you $900 if you want me to replace your customer supplied toilet. That's price gouging. And you can't get in trouble for that. You can't. It's not price gouging if you up the price in the price book for everybody. That's not price gouging. So they have a severe misunderstanding of what price gouging is. In my particular instance, in the company that I work for, it's because they're afraid that their morons that are working for them are gonna be too afraid to present these prices because they're just too high. Well, that's not my fucking problem. Put it in the fucking price book and have them go through the fucking shit, just like I have to do every fucking time. Put it in the price book and see what happens, right? So I'm not making enough money off of angle stops. This is another part. So angle stops, I get paid like $18 on my check for doing. That's terrible. It's awful. For those of you who have done 18 angle stops in a house, you know how much time it takes. It takes a shit ton. And if you're making less than $20 a piece for those, for an all-day job, dude, you're getting raped in the ass. You are getting fucking raped in the ass, dude. So anyway, use my technique. As soon as they see $2,500 to replace every single angle stop in the house, and you're like, hey, this is a big decision, man. Maybe you want to talk it over with your wife. Maybe you want to sleep on this for a couple of weeks. You know, because nothing's happening right now. Hey, Christmas is around the corner, bud. Right? Christmas is around the corner. And, you know, presents are expensive. Why don't you go through Christmas and then we'll worry about this, right? Now you know how to control the situation. So there's just certain things. Hey, you know, if you're not going to pay me for them, if you're not going to treat me right and pay me right for them, I'm not going to fucking do them. Sorry. Eat shit. But anyway, so that's my spiel. That's what I wanted to talk about. Y'all stay safe out there and fucking fuck off. All right, guys. Peace.